What's going on YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 video. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the PTS, Title Update 11, and all the goodies that are there within. Now starting tomorrow is going to be our weekly downtime in preparation for Title Update 11 and Season 3, which will be released next Tuesday on September 22nd. Now, if you guys want me to go on that rant and talk about certain people that were spoiling stuff for others and all that, just wait till the end. I'll give you guys all the juicy stuff. But for right now, let me just give you my full review and my thoughts on Title Update 11 thus far, because we have had quite a few things happen from the private test server to the public test server to the changes at the end of PTS 2, and yeah, so let's just bottle it up and get it over with. I'm Kamikazevondoom. If you guys enjoy it, don't forget, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, if you have anything you want to add, let me know in the comment section below. Alright, so while we're doing this, I need some materials, so I'm gonna go a little open world farming for some materials while I talk about this. So let's start off from the top. Myself and several others were invited to a private test server. They call it the PPS, the private preview server. Now what this does is it shows all the content creators, publishers, journalists and what have you. It gives them about a week or two ahead of time to go ahead and get the feel for it themselves before the public does. That way they could have content ready to go out, they know what they're talking about, and it's been tested and all that jazz. So starting there, I was a part of this private server, and as for other content creators, they think it might be, hush hush, you can't even talk about it, but come on, let's be real. Now anyways, in the private test server, I was able to go through the summit and test out all the weapons and everything solo. So that's why in all those videos I've been showing you guys, I was solo, and also that my shade level was, I think it started around like 99, 90, and then I got it up to like 10,003, something like that. It was something stupid. And a lot of people were asking me, like, how'd you get your shade level up that high? Holy crap, blah, blah, blah. And that was mainly just because I was in a private server. Developers made that server, gave me access to it, and all I did was change my character to look like my character does, and made a few videos. So with that being said, let's talk about what I tested. As far as the summit is concerned, I was able to get up to floor 83 solo. I was not able to really get past that just because of the way the enemies were flanking, how hard they were hitting, and all of that. It was very hard to keep them from flanking you, especially when you're playing solo. Instead, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are going to solo the entire summit, and hats off to you. However, with me personally, during the 1 week private server access that I had, I was only able to get up to 83. Now, as far as the summit is concerned, the summit feels good. The bones are there, and it actually feels pretty good. As far as a PvP player, I do both. I like to play PvE and PvP. But obviously I have a lot more fun playing PvP. Now, as far as PvE is concerned, this gave me a lot of feels of, underground and resistance, just like everyone else has said. But the real reason it felt like underground is because there were no windows. There was nothing telling you that you were even above ground. It just made it seem like you might as well just be underground, because all the floors looked pretty similar. There was no windows, and the way you got up to each floor individually was either by stairs or by elevator shafts. It really felt like underground from The Division, if you guys have played that. Now, as far as comparing it to Resistance, yes, it does have that little horde mode kind of feel. However, Resistance is a whole different animal. Uh, for for a little bit more elaboration on that, Resistance is 3 maps. All it is 3 areas within the division, and you played a horde mode. You'd see how far up you could go with the levels. Now, each 10 levels, I believe, you got a boss, and it just kept going over and over, just as long as you could play it. Now, as far as the summit is concerned, what they tried to do is they tried to add different elements to every single floor. Now, the caveat with that is they don't have a lot of development team members to make this happen in the polished finish that we want. I'm sure everyone was wanting, every floor to be completely different with different tactics from the enemies, with like windows that like showed, hey, we're at like the sub level, hey, we're getting above buildings, whoa, we're up in the clouds, stuff like that. Which, of course, that would be amazing in my book. I think that would definitely add like this little polished finish, and that a lot of people would really enjoy that. However, with the time constraints, the lack of team members that they have, and the timelines and all that, and of course you could throw COVID-19 in there as well as an excuse. They basically made a underground PvE that's vertical instead of horizontal, being that this is probably exactly like Underground, except for instead of just going through the tunnels, you're just going up a building. Same exact premise. With that being said, they did give us slides that showed, your areas or your floor environment might look like this or that. I believe I used it as a thumbnail in my Welcome to the Summit video, where basically they only used about 9, maybe 10 different floor templates, and then they just made it RNG and just changed it up every few floors, which is fine. It's not like a huge game changer. However, the part about that is when you are doing 100 floors, it kind of makes it repetitive, especially if you do more than 10 floors at once. Here, let me get rid of these guys real quick. They're just hiding behind the truck. And he should be done. Here we go. And ba-ba-boom. Alright, I'll let him bleed out. Alright, so anyways, what I was saying is that there were only so many templates that they used. So every 10 floors or so, you'd start to see a repetitive nature because there aren't that many, templates to go through. Once you go through them all, of course, it's going to be a little repetitive. However, if you really think about it, it's nowhere near as repetitive as Resistance, because Resistance was 3 maps, and once you understood where to sit in those maps, you could just, go up the levels very easy. It was super repetitive. In fact, if you got the mechanic down, you could use the exact same mechanic every single time you did Resistance and just get your levels up that way. I thought that was super repetitive. Not only that, but with Underground was way more repetitive than the Summit, being that Underground only had maybe 4 different areas total. The very first Underground experience you got, where it was like translucent, there was a lot of black lights everywhere, and it felt really cool. That was only in the very first mission. After that, underground was the same 3 or 4 areas over and over. Super repetitive. Not only that, but it was the exact same enemies throughout the whole thing. Now, the summit, if you look at it that way and you compare them individually, the summit is the best of both of those worlds. You get the horde mode and you get the underground feel at the same time. Now, that's the good stuff. So let's talk about the things I would change. Right off the bat with the summit, I would probably do resets. The only way to make this repetitive game mode better is to actually give incentives on doing the floors multiple times. Because if not, I personally would just go straight up to 100, and then I would just farm the legendary floors and, floor 100 over and over, because in reality, those would be the best drops. And doing the summit on legendary, just from my experience, is way easier than doing the legendary missions that are here in DC. Especially when I was able to go through a few floors solo on legendary. I would never think about doing legendary missions solo just because of how time consuming that would take. But with the summit, with, there's not big areas, so once you clear that certain section, it's pretty much over, and it makes it for, very fast and easier setting. Now, what I would do with the reset, I would make it, this is how I'd do it. I would make rewards, I would add a vendor, and I would add leaderboards. So, hear me out. The summit would be a 100 floor game mode. Every week it would reset. And within that reset, hold on. Let me talk about this before I get got. So with that being said, what you would do is you would have leaderboards. The leaderboards would reset every week or maybe every month, however you would want to do it. What that would do is it would show, how high up on the leaderboards you are, how high up your friends got up on the leaderboards, and how the community as a whole is doing with the summit. That's great for data collecting for the developers, and it's also pretty cool for the players to see, oh, hey, I'm, number 23 in the world on the summit, blah, 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 whatever, bragging rights. So that's the leaderboard aspect. The next aspect is a vendor. What I would do personally is there are rally points within the summit. You have 11, 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, 71, 81, and 91. All of those are rally points, meaning they are safe areas where you can regroup, you can go to the stash, you could sell stuff, do all that. What I would do is I would add a hidden vendor within one of those rally points randomly. So say the first week of the summit, you would have, the secret, hidden vendor at like rally point 21, make it easy. That way, while you're going up the floors, all of a sudden, oh, hey, there's a vendor here. And maybe the vendor would sell something cool, maybe not, that's up to the developers. But what I would do is after each week or month or however you want to do the reset, I would change that vendor and put him or her in a different rally point. So at reset, instead of floor 21, the vendor would be, maybe next week the vendor is at floor 51. Or maybe one week the vendor's at 11, and then the vendor's at 81 the following week. It wouldn't matter. It would be random. That would be the beauty of it. Because not only would this make the player base play through your PvE game mode, but it would also give us some sort of reward. Hey, I just found the vendor, guys. He's on floor 51. And then all your buddies are like, oh, man, I got to get up to 51 now. and that makes people play your game mode. That would keep the repetitive nature alive without the drawbacks of it being repetitive. So, you would add leaderboards. That way people have bragging rights. I mean, you could even have rewards linked with the leaderboards, kind of like how you did in the Division 1, where, after, top 100 players are tier 1, top 500 players are tier 2, top 1,000 players are tier 3, so on and so forth. You could do that as well. That would add more incentive. Let's see if I'm going off track here. So we talked about the leaderboards, we talked about the vendor idea, and the last idea I had is floor 100. Now that it has been completely spoiled and everyone and their mom knows what's happening on floor 100, here are my thoughts on it. Now, floor 100, you are going to encounter hunters. They will scale up to how many players you have on your team. So if you are doing it solo, you'll probably have only a couple hunters. If you're doing it 4 players, you're going to have 5 or 6 hunters, and so on. Kind of think of it like rogue encounters, except this time they're hunters. Now, what I would do, knowing this information now, is during each reset, what I would propose is give these hunters like a certain patch. Maybe like a certain, insignia or something special. Something that, people can show off. Hey, I did floor 100 week 1 and I got this sick ass patch. That would be pretty cool. Another thing you could do is upon killing each of these hunters, you could have them drop a mask and a patch. Now that we have already gone through all year 1 and year 2 hunters, what you could do now is incorporate those hunters into the summit, and then upon killing them, you could get their mask. So say, year 1, there was some people that didn't get a certain mask. This could be a different opportunity to have them obtain that mask in a different setting. Say I don't want to go salute 6 times to some memorial thing and have a hunter spawn and then he disappear after 3 seconds. What you could do is go to the summit, make it to floor 100, and you could fight the exact same hunter on floor 100 and get that same mask. Now, for all of us that already have the mask, what incentive we would have is you would have them drop a special patch. Maybe if you kill all of the hunters, it'll drop a certain patch, and then after each reset you could like tweak the patch a little bit, something like that. That way it keeps floor 100 fresh. You don't want to go against the exact same hunters every time on floor 100 and do the exact same mechanic every single time. It's going to bring that repetitive nature back, and you're going to get a lot of drawbacks and a lot of people bored because they don't want to do that over and over and over and over and over and over and over. So making it to where they drop masks and patches, stuff like that, that would actually give some incentive for those veteran and, elite, #elite players where they think they're the best and, they have to get those patches. That would definitely help out with the overall criticism that is coming to this game. So what you could do is you could add a reset, whether it be weekly or monthly, depending. You could have a vendor linked with that reset to where they're random at different rally points. And then upon reset, you could change up floor 100, whether it just be, the hunter's look. You could just change the way they look and then have them drop different masks and patches, or you could actually just change the entire floor on reset to where it's just a new immersive experience. Because this way, people will grind the floors to find the vendors. They will grind to floor 100 to get, a cool patch or a cool mask from the hunters. And you'll have leaderboards that will get those players to play just so they can have bragging rights and say, hey, I made it, top 10 in the world this week on Summit. Something like that. So those are all my thoughts and suggestions when it comes to the Summit. Now, we all know that Title Update 11 had a lot more to offer in it. So now let's move on to the weapons. Before I start talking about the weapons, if you guys have anything you want to add about the Summit, your thoughts, your requests, let me know in the comment section below. I am more than happy to talk to you guys about it. Now, next up are the weapons. So, in Title Update 11, we had a handful of weapons we could choose from. The Card Pistol, K-A-R-D. It was a pretty cool pistol. One of the developers in State of the Game said that it was basically a copy and paste from an old Ghost Recon game, I believe, something like that. But what they did is they, copy and pasted it, and this is the Division 2 version of it. I used the pistol. I did not have a chance to use the named variant of that pistol. I actually don't even know what that named variant is going to hold. However, using the pistol itself, it was okay. I'm not a big pistol fan, and it definitely did not feel like it was going to be best in slot. So moving on to the new shotgun. It's called the 612 shotgun, and I myself used it a lot during that private server and going through the Summit floors. To me, it felt like a showstopper kind of weapon, but it felt better in my opinion. I was using the named variant during the private server. It was called the Cry, I believe, C-R-Y-E. And what that did is it gave you armor on kill. So with that armor on kill, you get 5% from that named shotgun, which was actually pretty OP. I liked it a lot. I gave it a lot of tests, and for me personally, it worked out very well. Now, let's see if I can get this guy running. Ugh, nope. Alright, there's that one. Let's get this guy out here. Alright, so anyways, I used the named variant of that 612 shotgun. And in the private server, it was called the Cry. And then I believe during the PTS, they decided to change it to the Mop. M-O-P. So with that being said, they are keeping the armor on kill, and I actually liked the entire feel of that weapon. I myself would definitely use it in Title Update 11 as soon as it drops. I hope that I can get another armor on kill build and run through PvE content with it. Now, those are the shotguns. So you have the 612, and then you have the named variant called the Mop. Alright, the next weapon was the exotic SMG. It was called Backfire. Now, Backfire, what it does is upon shooting an enemy, you gain stacks of crit damage. With that, upon reload, based off of how many stacks you have obtained, you will then start to apply a bleed effect towards yourself. So what I did during the private server is I went ahead and made a hazard build with some resistance mods and showed you guys how to negate that bleed altogether. And it actually felt pretty good. That SMG had a larger magazine than, say, the Lady Death. And once you get past the bleed aspect of it, it's actually a pretty strong weapon. I can't wait to use it once TU11 actually drops. But then again, it is linked to Season 3. So you are going to have to wait and get it while you go up the season ranks. So those are the new weapons that came with Title Update 11. The pistol, it's okay. The shotgun is a little bit better, and the SMG I think is actually going to be pretty viable. Yeah, and you'll definitely see it a lot in PvP. So those are the weapons. Let's go through the gear that was introduced in Title Update 11. Now, the gear that was introduced, not a lot. You had a brand set, you had a gear set, and then you had some exotic gear items. Now, starting off with the brand set. The brand set was the Bellstone Armory. This one gave you that armor regen, armor on kill, and so forth. It was okay. I did a video on it, and actually I didn't even run the 3-piece after explaining it, because the 2-piece gave you the armor regen and the armor on kill, and all I did was utilize that with a armor on kill build, and it was actually quite fun. It didn't feel OP, and it didn't feel like it was going to break the game in any way, shape, or form. And that's actually all my thoughts on it. It was okay. It was a good addition to the game. The Bellstone Armory brand set. The other part was the new gear set. Now, this new gear set is a whole another beast. This thing is OP as all hell, and it will be used and abused in PvP, I can promise you, because I will be one of those people probably using and abusing it in PvP. So, the gear set, Hunter's Fury. Now, what that did is it gave you a crap ton. It gave you a crap ton of SMG and shotgun damage. Not only that, but the Hunter's Fury talent, using the 4-piece, it would give you an indicator once you are within 15 meters of them, and then all of a sudden you have 20% more damage. So the crazy power you got from the SMGs and the shotguns, you could then apply with this talent, and you'd get even more damage just by being up close and personal with the enemies. Now, with that being said, not only did that feel overpowered, it was a lot of fun, I will admit. But the best part of that Hunter's Fury gear set is upon kill, within a certain radius, it would disorient other enemies. And if you killed those enemies while they were disoriented, you got another buff. It was insane. I loved it. I truly enjoyed the new gear set, Hunter's Fury. Now, the drawbacks on that, obviously PvP, it's going to be used and abused. I've already said that. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great new gear set. Now, after the gear set and the brand set, there wasn't much more new gear items. All they added were 2 new exotics. One being a exotic exclusive to floor 100 of the summit, and the other one being tied to the upcoming Season 3. Now, first, let's talk about the one coming up with Season 3, because a lot of people are going to be able to obtain that exotic faster than they will the one that is tied to the Summit Floor 100. So, in Season 3, they are introducing the new exotic backpack, Memento. Now, Memento, basically, it gives you 3 core attributes. It gives you a red, a blue, and a yellow. And it gives you that talent kill confirmed. When you kill an enemy, it'll drop a token, and once you get that token, you get short-term and long-term buffs. It was super OP, and I loved using it, especially with the gear set, Hunter's Fury. It was a great combination to run, especially with a shotgun or an SMG. Now, the changes that have already been made to this exotic during the PTS is that the bonus armor that you would gain from getting those confirmed kills was a bit much. It made it very overpowered, and in PvP, once you started getting those buffs, it was pretty much game over for everyone trying to go up against you. So what they did is they changed it to where you're not going to get as much bonus armor. However, the bonus armor will stack. So that's going to be its own monster once we get our hands on the final product. Now, the Memento is going to be a lot of fun. I truly love that exotic, and as soon as I got my hands on it, I was telling everybody that it's my new favorite exotic gear piece to use. I would use that way more than I would use the Coyote's mask, Vile mask, anything, BTSU, you name it. The Memento backpack is going to be a game changer, and I myself cannot wait. Now, the last exotic that is being introduced is going to be specific only to floor 100 in the summit, and that is that Ridgeway's Pride chest piece. Now, that chest piece gives you the talent when you're so close to an enemy. I think it's within 15 meters. You can apply a bleed to them, and based off of how many targets you get to bleed at once, it'll also give you armor regeneration. Pretty OP. I liked it a lot. I sadly didn't test it as much as I would have liked, but that's because I was too busy hooked on the Memento backpack and that Hunter's Fury gear set. So not a lot of people are going to get that chest piece just because you have to reach floor 100, meaning you have to go through, what's that, I think it's like 20 floors of legendary before you even get to the, floor 100. So with that being said, I'm not really going to talk too much about it just because not a lot of people are going to get it. And whenever I finally get it with the final product being released, I'll make another video on it then. Alright, so let's summarize what we've gone through so far. So we have talked about the summit. I pretty much talked about everything in the summit, including what I would change. Talked about the new weapons and the new gear that is introduced into Title Update 11. Now, the last part I wanted to talk about is what they have changed for PvP, and then I'm going to do a little rant on some drama that other content creators have. Now, the changes. The resistance mods were being doubled for Title Update 11. They have now reverted that idea. So if you have a 10% blind death mod, and with TU11 it would bump it up to 20%. Now it's going to be back to 10%. So no changes to the resistance mods anymore. Apparently that makes it too easy to be immune to certain things, and the developers felt that that could be exploited. So what they did is they reverted that idea. They are keeping the agnostic mod slots. So all of your gear, those red, blue, and yellow mod slots will change to a gray or a generic mod slot. So that'll still be added to the game, which is good. Now, as far as PvP, they are nerfing the Lady Death talent by 25%. So that is going to kill a lot of your Lady Death builds out there. What they also did is they changed the backpack Memento. They're lowering that bonus armor, like I said earlier, and they're just making it easier to stack. They are also doubling the armor on kill that you would get from the death grips, and also I believe the mop. I'm not too sure. We'll see when the final product hits on the 22nd. So overall, that is what's going on with Title Update 11. Nothing too crazy. Oh yeah, the foam duration is getting nerfed by 33%. So instead of being foamed for 3 seconds, you'll only be foamed for 2 seconds in PvP. Another good change. And they are removing the firewall specialization talent for PvP. That way, when you lose all your armor, it doesn't just burn the nearest enemy towards you. So that, again, is another great addition. Now, here's the part everyone wants to talk about. The drama. Yes, I did go at... I did. I went after Widzy Poo and Macho Man Randy Savage this past weekend. And reason being is I made a tally on my community tab just to prove a point, and over 95% of you either are on console or you have not played the PTS. 95%. That's not, 50-50. A lot of you guys have played it, a lot of you guys haven't. No. That is damn near all of you have not played the PTS. Meaning, when I was invited to a private server, just like all these other content creators, publishers, journalists, whoever, we were all strictly told, do not show anything related to Floor 100. Yes, I'm not ignorant. I do know rules are rules, and private servers are different from public servers. Well aware. What these people are not aware of is that how many people, what percentage of their, whatever, their fan base, their community, their channels are actually playing the PTS. How many of them are actually console players that are just watching them because they don't have access to it? The problem that I'm laying out for you is that they spoiled the entire summit. They spoiled the 100th floor. If you guys remember a few days ago, Ubisoft just released a trailer for the summit. A trailer in which they kept Floor 100 a secret, a mystery, and they even ended the trailer with, who's it gonna be? Dum dum dum, Floor 100. And it kept it a mystery. What that does is that builds hype, that builds speculation, and that builds interest, player interest. What you do is you have all these players that are like, oh man, I can't wait to see what's at 100. This is going to be awesome. What do you think it's going to be? This is what I think it's going to be, and so on and so forth. Now, I understand that the developers are short-staffed, and I've also talked to one of those developers today. Now, after our discussion, we've come to the agreement that the only way for them to test Floor 100 was to release it with the PTS, because they cannot test it internally. I have been told this, that they have to have it tested in the PTS because they cannot do it internally, and they need to know if there are any bugs or anything associated with Floor 100 that they could fix prior to releasing the final product. Yes, that makes sense. I agree with that. What I do not agree with is, why would you make a trailer building hype around the summit and Floor 100 and then turn around and release it in public test servers so that everybody associated with the game could show exactly what Floor 100 had? This just completely destroys all hype associated with the summit. So now we know it's hunters, and not only that, we also know that how to beat it, because Widzy Poo and Macho Man Randy Savage sat there and streamed the entire day on how to beat it. So even I know how to beat it, which in my opinion is messed up. I think that not only as a content creator, that's messed up to show viewers what's going to happen. Obviously, that's good for their channels. Yeah, they can make revenue and views off of that, and they can profit off of it. Okay, that's cool. I myself do not do this stuff for profit. I do it because I enjoy it. I only really covered the division because I thoroughly enjoy the game. I enjoy the community, and I enjoy everything surrounded with that. What I do not enjoy is watching a really cool, badass trailer from Ubisoft building up hype, and then me turning on Twitch and I see two content creators just showing you how to beat it. That's horrible. It wasn't even out yet. It's not going to be out yet. And a majority of the player base does not play on PC. Yes, the game was designed on PC, and yes, it is out for PC, but I guarantee you, if you combine the PlayStation players with the Xbox players, you will have a bigger community than you would Division players on PC. And that's a fact. You can go to my community tab right now. I think it's at like 600 votes or something. And you can see that overwhelmingly that it is Xbox and PlayStation players over PC. So with that, I think it's not Macho Man Randy Savage's fault. It's not Widzy Poo's fault. The person's fault lies on the developers. Yes, it is released for PTS, so it's fair game. They can make videos on whatever they want. They can spoil the hell out of whatever they want, and more power to them. As far as an ethics standpoint, I think that's stupid. I think, why would you sit there and spoil something for a majority of the community that can't test it, they can't play it, and you're already showing them how to beat it? I think that's retarded. I think that's horrible, and it's stupid. There's so many other words I could put into that, but I'm trying to keep this a PG-13. Now, yes, it's okay. It was released on PTS. Yes, they did nothing wrong personally. It's more of an ethics thing. But the problem boils down to the developers not being able to test it internally. And with that, they had to give it over to content creators, and thus showing the world how to beat it before it even releases. My problem, bottom line with this, is that these content creators don't just play the Division. They play Call of Duty, they play Rogue Company, they cover other games. So what the developers did, essentially, is they gave them all the new content so that they could cover it. Now when TU11 drops, they can go back to Call of Duty, Rogue Company, whatever games they're playing. Now, that makes it easier for the content creator. That makes it easier for the developer, because now the developer doesn't have to do internal testing. They can just hand it right over to the content creators. And then the content creators can play it, get rid of it, make videos, and then upon release, they can go play something else because they've already made videos on it and they've already made their money. However, the one part of all this that everyone's missing is the community. You're showing and spoiling all of your good stuff to the community before it's released. So a lot of people that go off of hype, they're not going to come now, because now they're like, oh great, so we're going to do legendary for 20 something missions or 20 something floors, and then we're going to go against legendary hunters. That's no fun, no thanks, boom, and now they're done. Or you have others, they're like, oh okay, that's the end of that, and then they go to another game. You're killing your own hype. So as a content creator or a developer, I would think personally that you would build the hype as much as you could, keep it a mystery, and then right at release, boom, let them have it. But what you did here is you let the community have it during the PTS, which now everyone already knows exactly what's coming with this update, and there's going to be no surprises, no mysteries, no anything. It's just going to be bland by the time the final product is released. And I myself, would think in a marketing standpoint or a business standpoint that is the wrong way to go. That is basically nailing your own coffin together and putting yourself 6 feet deep. What you should do is you should build up the hype. You could have content creators test the Floor 100 with developers in a private test server, which is doable. What I am proposing they could actually do if they tried. It's not far-fetched. It's nothing like that. Because what they do with the private preview servers is they email you and they let you know, hey, you can start testing this at this time and date, and you have until this time and date until it's over. What they could do in the future is they could have, hey, we really want to test out this boss engagement. We really want to test out this. Be on the private server at this time. Between this time window and this time window, get on the private servers. A developer will be on there with you. They'll talk you through it. You guys can test it and take notes and go from there. That is true, testing. That's a true test server. What you're letting us do is you're just letting us create content, which gives us money and it gives you publicity. However, for the consumer, it's destroying any hype. It's destroying anything to look forward to, because you're just giving it all to us and letting us tell everyone about it. And yeah, that's my problem with it. I'll stop the rant there. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about that. If you're on console, how did you feel about knowing, about Floor 100? Is it okay to have them, ruin the surprise, or did you really care? A lot of people did care and a lot of people did not care. I heard Macho Man Randy Savage sit there and cry, saying he lost some subs because he spoiled it, but then he turned around and said it's okay, it's in the PTS, I can cover it. But obviously the community did not agree, so there was no sort of empathy or anything involved there. It was basically the same thing that Widsy Poo does, and just blows it off and says, too bad you're on console, too bad it's in the PTS, I'm going to cover it anyways. Because when it comes down to it, they only care about money and views. As far as where I'm concerned, I would rather build the community up as a whole, because if the community is in a bad spot, then the content creators are going to be in a bad spot and everyone loses. So if you try to build the community, your channel will build with it without having to sacrifice anything else. But then again, those are just my thoughts. So yeah, I'm gonna end it there. Shout out to the DoD Disciples of Doom. I'm Kamikazevondoom. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.